Hello and welcome back everyone. In our last video we looked at the different ways that we can write JavaScript in our code, and in this video we're going to be looking at how we can change content on our HTML page. So now let's go back to our code, and right now we have our h1 tag and a button. So first of all, let's just get rid of this styling so we can have everything flow directly. Then let's check that. Okay, so first of all, let's get rid of that alert that we have. And now let's change this to say something like hello world. Now in this example, what we want to do is to change the content of this h1 tag. So let's reload this. First of all, save, then go back and reload. So now we want to change the content of this h1 tag to something different, either when the page loads or when we click this button. So first of all, let's change this content immediately the page loads. So now we've set the text here directly. Let's open up our JavaScript, and the first thing we want to do to begin something like that is to select our document. So basically what this says is that what we're trying to do is in this current document, so where this file is included. So we'll say document, then dot. Next thing we're going to do is to, first of all, if you remember when we're in HTML and CSS and we're working with class names and IDs, I said that there are things that we'll use in JavaScript. Now first of all, especially IDs, what IDs are mostly useful for is, since an ID is unique to an element, so whichever ID we give to our element, we can now select that specific ID knowing which element it is in our JavaScript. Now since we're going to be selecting this element here, we want to give it an ID, so we can give it an ID of, let's say welcome text. Now we want to copy this and save this file, then go back to our JavaScript, and to select that, the next thing we're going to do is to add a dot after our document and use get elements. So we're going to be getting that element by its ID. Then we open a bracket, then add some double quotes, then we paste that ID that we just added to that element. So basically what I've done is that we've selected the documents and we have gotten an element in this document by its ID of welcome text. Now what we're trying to do is to change this content. Now to do that, we'll select the inner HTML, which is whatever is inside this h1 tag. So then dot inner HTML. Now after we've selected that, we want to set it to something different, like we can say hello me. Then we can add an optional semicolon at the end. Now I hope you understand what this is, and if you don't, let me just run through it again. So basically we've selected our document, which is this file. Then we've selected an element by its ID that is in this document, and that ID is welcome text. Then what we now did was to select the content of that element and set it to something different, which in this case is set to hello me. Now we're going to, as we go further in this course, you get to understand what all these are. So we have get elements by ID. There are different other ways we can select elements. We have our query selectors, we have query selector all, and so on. But for this example, we'll be using get element by ID. Now I'll save this file and refresh our page. Since this runs immediately the page loads, we will not see this hello world, but immediately see hello me. But as you can see, what we actually have in our HTML is hello world, but it is now being changed by this JavaScript code. Now this may not look like much, but the next example we're going to be doing now is to change this content dynamically when our user clicks on this button. So now to do something like that is not hard. All we have to do is, just like our text here, we add an ID to this button, and we can get rid of this on click listener, and this ID will be just button. And just like how we did here, we select our button. So document dot get element by ID, and this will be button. And now in JavaScript, to handle things like clicks, we use event listeners. So what we're going to do is we can use the dot add event listener, then click, we put the event listener of click, then open up a function which is what we want, and this function is where we write what we want to happen when this event listener happens or is detected. So what we want to do now is to change this content right here. So we can just cut this and put it into this function. Now let's go over it again. We've selected our button and we've added an event listener to it of click. Then on that click event listener, we've added the functionality, which is this function, which is all this. Now if this is too complicated, there's a shorter way of doing this, and this is if you just need something simple, and all we just need to do is to still select our button, and we can just add dot on click, then still add our function and writing whatever we want, which is still the same thing. So either way this will work, but for this I'll just use the event listener method. Then I'll save this, and when we refresh our page, we should see what we originally wrote, hello world. But now when we click on this button, the text gets changed. Now that is basically what JavaScript as a front-end developer is mostly used for, to change content on our page and make user interaction more meaningful. Now if you don't understand this, don't worry, as we go deeper into this course I'll be explaining along the way, and I hope you follow along. So that'll be it for this video. I hope you now know how you can change content on your HTML page using JavaScript, and in our next video we'll see how we can actually respond to clicks and take actions due to user interaction, and even change element styles. So see you in that video, and bye for now.